Well, I've got more good news and more bad news. The good news is that we can trade in the Doll's Demon Soul that we got from beating the Fool's Idol to get Soul Ray, which is an incredibly powerful and penetrating spell that we can basically use for the rest of the game. It costs 15 to use, and does a lot of damage, and it pierces through things. So if a bunch of enemies are stacked right one in front of another, it'll hit them all, and that's really good. The bad news is that I lost all my audio from this recording, so I'm replacing it with mood music. Yeah, let's call it that. Mood music. I do want to get protection, though, before we move on. So I'm just going to burn a couple soul items there. And foolishly grab a spell that I'm probably never going to use. I mean, it seems like it's good, right? But there are some rules to keep in mind when you use this spell. And among them is you can't use it with any other good spell or miracle. Which sucks quite a bit. We have enough intelligence to have 3 spell slots now. I fixed that between videos when I leveled up. And now we're going to take on the Shrine of Storms. Actually, this is the first thing we need to do is go on a bit of a reconnaissance mission. When I say reconnaissance mission, I mean go get a really good weapon that we're going to use for quite a long time. We're definitely always going to have it around. So, Shrine of Storms. You can see in the distance the basic enemy type for this stage is the Silver Skeleton. If you read the description of the Shrine of Storms from the Archstone page, you would see that the skeletons are being inhabited by the souls of the damned or something similar, and it makes them flip out and roll around like a bunch of spazzes, or maybe an online player. And they seem to be doing pretty well against the Secret Dagger. Probably going to want to change weapons here. I think the Mercury Rapier is far better. I mean, I don't know that I can make a skeleton bleed, which might make it difficult to poison it as well, but at the very least, this weapon's way better. And, of course, I've got my magic. Alright, so first skeleton is there just to make sure that you get the point. Next skeleton is going to be backed up by an archer. You can see him up there on the hill. And Soul Ray, as you can see, does massive damage. Massive. Helps that these guys are kind of weak to magic, though they are more weak to fire. I'd be happy to demonstrate. Now, the archers are weaker, but I'm pretty sure that would kill a regular guy as well. Alright, maybe it won't. Maybe it's slightly weaker than the Soul Ray, but it also costs 6 less to cast. Mercury Rapier not doing particularly well against these guys either. But Protection showed up big. I probably should have died from that combo he got off on me. So, even though I'm probably never going to use Protection later on once I get some better buffs, it's not bad. Definitely consider it. Now, if you're wondering why I was trying to antagonize that skeleton up there, that was just to demonstrate that our goal is going to be to make it up to that cliff. That black katana-wielding skeleton is guarding the particular item that I want. So we're going to have to deal with him at some point. I just thought that maybe I could snipe him from down here. No such luck. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and wear the Ring of Magical Sharpness to see if I can start taking these guys out in one shot. What I don't realize here is that Flame Toss is a fire attack, not a magic attack, so the Ring of Magical Sharpness actually doesn't have an effect on it. And I'm probably not going to remember that for the rest of the game. You just figure, well, it's a magic attack, or I'm spending MP to cast it. Of course the Ring of Magical Sharpness is going to work. But it won't. And of course I'm going to get a nice false positive from taking out those archers, even though it's doing the exact same damage that it did to everything else. I'm very observant sometimes. Just in case I wasn't observant, which, you know, I am, very clearly. That message tells us that there is an item right here. And one right back there as well. Of course, it doesn't tell you how to get to the item back there, but we'll get there in due time. Not heading over there quite yet. And boy, do I need some MP back. Let's go Fragrant Ring. Fragrant Ring, of course, magic regeneration, but the magic regeneration that it grants can also be stacked up with magic regeneration from other sources. But as far as I know, not a second Fragrant Ring. You can get doubles of most of the rings in the game, but equipping them does not cause the effects to stack, which kind of sucks as far as I'm concerned. Now, where we want to go is to the left, but there's also a trap there, and I want to save it to try to do something slick. Yes, I'm going to use the trap against the enemies, or at least try to. Flying in the sky, those giant stingray things are storm beasts, and they are nasty little blighters, is the phrase that comes to mind when I think about them. They are difficult to actually hit with stuff because of the delay in your casting. So the best opportunity to hit them is when they're doing that and flinging spears out of the sky at you. Even then, though, they will often get out of the way before a Flame Toss can get there. So Soul Ray is actually the preferred method of dealing with them. Doesn't mean that it is a cost-efficient method of dealing with them, though. Yet. I can still kill it with one Flame Toss, so I will. The problem is when you miss, and then you wish you used the Soul Ray to begin with. Anyways, we see here the boss from the intro level. I finally have a chance to get my revenge on him. My fiery revenge. Let's just go ahead and speed this up a bit. This is going to take a while. And that, as they say, is that. Barely worth it. But that does get him out of the way. Otherwise, we'd have to pass behind him through a hidden passage. Those Cloud Stones were dropped by the Storm Beast. They are used on shields to give them the dark property, and that gives them increases or gives them the ability to resist magic. I can always use a magic resistant shield, especially because I cannot, or rather will not, give myself the stats required to use the Dark Silver Shield. And that kind of ruins my general strategy anyways, because in addition to blocking all magic, it also has the Ring of Magical Dullness effect, which lowers your magic attack further. That's simply not going to do. So perhaps I will make a Dark Shield. Alright. Through the Fog Gate is progress. But we don't want to progress quite yet, because we don't have the very important thing that we're here for. So, to get it, we're going to head back, we're going to go backwards through the level. Oh, be careful when you kill the Storm Beast, because they often drop in strange locations that make their items impossible to get. I actually really got lucky there. maybe just a few millimeters in another direction, and it would have fallen directly on top of something or in the middle of the ocean. Just somewhere where I can't get it. Really quite annoying. Weapons here mostly aren't going to be used, but if I get some appropriate upgrade stones, I'll go ahead and use those. Trap, huh? Well, I see a hole in the wall and a pressure plate. I mean, it's arrows. It's clearly arrows. We learned all about arrows in the last stage and how not getting hit by them is good. So let's not get hit by these arrows. Shield is good enough. Now this wall is kind of ripply, if you can see it. That means it's illusory. And there are two skeletons behind it. Okay. If ever there is a time to have Soul Arrow ready instead of Flame Toss, that was it. And there we see the penetrating power of Soul Arrow in effect, along with the bonus from the Magical Sharpness Ring. That guy got taken out in one shot. But his friend did not. I wonder if it loses effectiveness as it travels. Or maybe I hit him first with something else. Oh no, I know what it was. He was in the middle of an attack, so he took slightly more damage. That's actually a mechanic in this game that nobody ever tells you about. They're, I guess they're called counter blows. That if your opponent is in an attack animation and you hit them, they take more damage. But it won't necessarily knock them out of the attack animation unless your attack is sufficiently powerful. Alright, so we got a friend in here. And I hear a crystal lizard, but he's not in here. We'll need to get the key to unlock him. He acts as the shopkeeper for this world. Still hear that crystal lizard. Rather, that's what I'm hearing in the actual game. That audio's gone now, so you won't hear the sparkly, shiny sound that it makes. But it's driving me crazy right now, I can tell, just watching. Be very careful, because there are more skeletons. Right behind this illusory wall. Surprise! Skeletons! And there we see one of the dangers of Flame Toss. Because you toss it with the opposite hand that you use the catalyst in, you want to be away from the wall on that side. Otherwise there's a good chance that you'll just fling the fireball right into a wall. Kind of like this guy, he's demonstrating it by flinging himself into a wall. No, and then into me. Sorry, quick correction, you don't actually toss it from the opposite hand, you just toss it from the opposite side of your arm. This sort of bizarre sidearm motion that is not how you throw a ball of anything, let alone fire. Whoa! Hey, buddy! Why don't you knock before you come crashing down on my skull? That's just kind of gonna be a thing, I think, is enemies falling on top of me. Alright, well, we're just about to where we need to be. Not going to go up quite yet, because what we need is out here. Alright. That message is supposed to be for when you're going into the building, because a skeleton will come rolling at you. But it works here as well, because there's an archer right up there that would shoot us in the back, given the proper chance. Fortunately for him, he is vulnerable in that position. And we are raking in a pretty good number of souls. This is actually a really good world to gain souls in. There's a ton of enemies, and they're worth a lot, and they're relatively easy to kill. There's also other tricks that we'll learn about later on. Alright, time to finish this off. We have to be very careful with this guy, because one hit will kill us. He has an extremely powerful attack. So there is the black skeleton that dual wields katanas. Not a black phantom, he's more like the red-eye knight from the first level that killed us in one hit. This guy can do that too, except he can also leap most of this hill to do it in one blow. I mean, leap. Fortunately, he takes a lot of magical damage. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get him again with the Soul Ray, then I'm going to try to lure him into an arrow trap to get killed, like you can do with the Snakemen in Sen's Fortress in Dark Souls. But there's a problem. Enemies are immune to traps in Demon Souls, which is horrible, and I'm glad they changed it for Dark Souls. Regardless, we've still vanquished him and gotten a healthy amount of souls out of it too, and we can finally claim our prize. It's not up there. There it is. The Crescent Falchion. Crescent weapons are upgraded using Dark Moonstones. Their damage scales entirely with your magic stat, and they deal both physical and magical damage. This weapon in particular can also inflict bleed, making it basically amazing. And if all that wasn't enough, weapons that have been enchanted with Dark Moonstone, Crescent weapons, also regenerate your MP. At the regular level, it regenerates 1 MP every 5 seconds. At a max level of 5, it'll regenerate 1 every 3 seconds. And that stacks on top of the Fragrant Ring. Anyways, that is it for our first trip. I'm going to declare victory and go level up.